Well, first off, happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month! Oh my goodness. And also, too, welcome to our pilot episode of DamnBoo.
Damn. That's crazy.
Well, I'm Damica, the damn part of the name.
And I'm Zenebou, and that's why we got Boo.
And welcome to our show and everything. So to kick things off, we're going to have Voice Out, Show Out, which is basically our segment.
Wait,
what?
It's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's
Day.
I'm really not trying to talk about that.
Happy Valentine's Day to all the singles, to all the couples, to everybody out there. Happy Valentine's Day. I mean, we're here. We're recording for you guys. So we're showing how much love we have for you. You could be a little bit more happier than that.
I could, but should I? Could I? Look, I think what's really weird about Valentine's Day is the fact that every year I feel like it brings like a new energy. Like either people are so with it or people are like completely against it. And honestly, my memory don't serve me. I don't know what happened last Valentine's Day.
LOL. I thought it was cute. Even though Valentine's Day shouldn't be the only day that, you know, you celebrating for your loved ones or whatever. It is a day. It's cute.
Gifts every day. Exactly.
The least you deserve, right?
Exactly. Like, I feel like I have to speak my love language, like, on this day particularly. Because, okay, so lesson time. So I love languages, right? So we have we have touch, we have words of affirmation, acts of service, gift giving. Don't do that. And quality time, right?
Wow.
I feel like mine is definitely touch and acts of service. So I'm gonna be practicing that towards myself today.
I did take a test a while back ago, and I think if I can remember, mine was quality time.
Oh, you like quality time?
I guess. We'll have to take the test again, and I'll confirm it for sure.
But you know, I feel like a quality time has to be a little bit lower on my list, just because I'm a little too busy these days, you know. And plus, I'm
booked and busy.
I'm busy. Like, all y'all know, but like, I send voice messages because I really can't take the time to like really text. I'd rather just talk to you like through that. So yeah, it's a little cute quirk of mine. It's bad for the Tinder dates, though. I will say that they don't. Yeah, you know, 2 to 3 business days, I'll get back to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's enough about love lies for today.
Actually, we have to talk about consent, though. We got to talk about consent.
You're right. That's always important.
Right. Regardless if it's like a hookup or regardless if it's like your relationship or if y'all bumping and grinding, whatever, like, just make sure there is that line of consent.
Don't use that reference.
What? Bumping and grinding? Why not? Love making? Wait, what you want me to say?
Oh, okay. That's fine. Let's forget about it.
Okay,
but,
friend.
You know, consent is always important, as Damica said. You know, make sure you know your boundaries. Right. It's better to be safe, you know, protected. Know your self-worth. I see a lot of people in Valentine's Day definitely taking the time out for themselves. And especially during this pandemic, too, it's always great to take time out for yourself. Like,
Exactly. Because, I mean, truthfully, I don't know how things are going to pan out, like, from this point on, but I feel like it's just at this point, if love means watching some shows on Netflix and getting your fuzzy socks, gonna do that.
Yes. I mean, we had our own little Galentine's Day yesterday, and we watched To All the Boys I Loved Before, part 3. So it's out on Netflix. You can watch that with your girlies or your, you know, just your friends.
Girls, gays, theys, you know.
Yeah, everybody.
You know, everyone.
But besides that, let's go on to our first segment then.
First segment time. Okay. So, voice out, show out. This is a time where we take to talk about what's been going on out in activism and what people are doing to contribute to their individual communities with fervor, with love, with everything that is all good about communities. So, yeah, you want to go ahead and start?
Well, first community I want to shout out is Ebony, which is Emerson's Black organization here on Emerson's Boston campus. I think they're expanding also to their LA campus as well. And just like this last week, they had like a luncheon event in which you could talk to alumni, I believe, and then also they were doing a Zoom meeting, which you had, you know, a conversation with doctors and how that conversation is very serious with not only COVID, but just how Black people are treated in hospitals. And I thought that was very important. And if you guys can, you know, just go on out and support your Black organizations, you know, join. You know, it's very hard out here, especially going to PWI. You know, so there's very limited spaces in which you can feel like yourself, feel comfortable, and also share the same experiences with all your other Black folks out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Look, on that same note, I think a big part of Black History Month is allowing Black people to tell what Black history is, because I feel like we rely on too many non-Black POCs or white individuals to lead like the curriculums and the education behind Black history when it's not their history. So I want to give a great shout out to I Heart Erica on Instagram. She's also like a sex educator. She's a racial, social, gender justice disruptor, a writer, a podcaster. Like, she does everything. And we're gonna plug in her socials down below and everything. But
we love this. We love this.
She's been doing such a great job. Like, every day since February 1st and everything, she's been releasing so many great testimonials and great lecturers by by Black people who are identifying with different parts of the greater diaspora and really talking about the other sides that I feel like aren't touched on in Black History Month. Like, on the train over, I was listening to this one person. They were talking about what Afro-Latinx communities mean in terms of anti-Blackness and how they contend with that and the history behind that. And she's just, like, she does a great job of representing all those individual voices, because I feel like one of the things I like about this is the fact that with the people that she's showing, they're people that have, like, first off, extensive research in their fields, but also too, like, they're people like you and me. Like, they can also, like, they don't have to have like this big degree from like Harvard or like have this like huge lecture from like TED Talks or some shit like that. Like, they can literally just be like, one of them was actually in North Carolina, and she was like a student, and she was just talking about like this really profound thing about queer identities and what it means to bond through those identities.
And I think it's just the fact that we can relate to those experiences as a whole. And Black History Month, I mean, it should only be a month, okay?
It's a short month too. That's like
it really is a short month. It's, as we're saying Happy Black History Month, it's already like halfway through the month. It went by so quick. I feel like I didn't even get to like really, you know, sink in and, you know, just take time. But you know, people shouldn't just take this just because it's a holiday to only make sure that they're only celebrating this holiday for a particular day or a particular month. Because there's so much more behind it, and there's so much more behind just Black history in general, that it's not going to be covered in a month. So I'm going to need y'all to keep continuing educating yourself throughout your whole lifetime, okay? Because it's more than that.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, I think that's like another thing about going into like what anti-racism work looks like and everything, just because of the fact that there's structures in place perpetuated by white supremacy, perpetuated by so much institutional racism, that it's not enough to just put reforms. It's not enough to just educate yourself or acknowledge the problems there. You have to take proactive action towards it. So I feel like on top of that too, like you said, it's a continuous effort. I mean, as short as February is, like, y'all should be educating yourselves.
Like regardless.
Year round. Like it isn't when protests spike, it isn't when Black History Month happens. Like it's every time you get the chance. Like every day. For sure. Like so, I think I just want to say because one of the greatest legends out there recently passed. So R.I.P. Cicely Tyson. She was a good one, okay? She added so much to the Black experience itself. So it was glad to just, it was just good times, seeing her in films and, just seeing her career and expanding. She's literally an icon herself. So, rest in peace to her. Right. But also just, I hope people do share this experience, especially other Black folks, the right way to kind of just, go about life. Because I feel like there's so many things that, we take for granted. And just learn about your culture within itself. That's an important conversation. Because as we learn, obviously, in America, Black people are not treated right. And we're one of the groups of people who are heavily affected by the pandemic. And you can see that there's just it's just not matching up. Yeah. It's just not matching up at all. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I think, at any moment, I think Black lives should be celebrated as much as it's integrated into a system where I feel like there was such a system that perpetuated that we were all equal and everything, and then whenever, we started growing up and started feeling those effects of those oppressive structures and internalizing some of them, I feel like the work is also important to consider from a therapeutic point of view. Because I know, having Black icons like Cicely Tyson die, and then having, the pandemic on top of it, and then having so much, structural injustices, racism, police brutality, whatever it be, those are huge triggers. And I feel like those are definitely shouldn't be weights burdened too heavily on the Black community whenever non-Black, POC, or even white people can alleviate, our allies can alleviate that. So, yeah, for sure. I think, but on a lighter note, I hope that all of y'all are taking the time for Black History Month to continuously, like we said, educate, but also to wrap around it, celebrate too. So,
happy Black History Month, y'all.
Happy Black History Month.
All right. So now we're going to go into the Shamble Diaries.
You want to go into what the Shamble Diaries is?
You had this creative idea for the name.
I did.
So I want you to speak on it a little bit more.
You're right.
Let's hear what all the Shambles is about.
Let me clear my throat. So the Shamble Diaries is basically where we choose a community or a news topic for the week or whatever to really center on what is bringing everybody and their mamas in shambles over this. And usually they're just like hot topics and things that of that nature and everything, something that's trending, something that occurred really recently. So but they're usually from a messy perspective of the gritty and the nitty. So all of that. So yeah, that's what the Shamble Diaries is. I'm glad you said I made that name because that one took some time. I was a little high when I made it though. So
okay. But anyways, we gonna go into the first Shamble conversation, which is the girl. It's been a long...
It feels so long.
It feels like, honestly, I don't even know how long this took. A couple weeks?
Literally, I want to say, I figured it out about it, at the beginning of last week. But for some reason, this feels like a 6-month-long process.
Yes.
I was just talking about this. But at least my thoughts about it is first off, I feel bad for her just because you got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, it's the health toll that it took and the amount of desolate resources between obviously our what's it called, medical insurance or what is it called, insurance, our medical system doesn't support and like a majority of people at all. Like you have to pay out of pocket and everything. So a lot of the things that she was contending with, I really feel for her on that one. But I'm just glad that she's okay now. Like, that's like,
I'm glad she's okay.
Go ahead.
But I'm just considering, like, well, where was the mix-up between the Gorilla Glue and what else was she using? Got to be, yeah.
You gotta do what you got. Like, I'm not judging it.
No, please don't use Gorilla Glue at all. Like,
I heard they took it off the shelves though. So
damn. So now what people gonna use to fix their houses?
Was it this? 1,000 glues still there. Don't do that. But like, I think they removed the spray that. At least that maybe you know, sometimes I just be scrolling through the timeline. Yeah.
Which is okay. I want to bring up a point. You know, she did getting, you know, medical care. She was able to, you know, a miracle. She didn't lose her hair.
Yeah.
She did have to cut off her hair from the ponytail, but what kind of confused me is how I think it was TMZ made claims about her suing, like, you know, bringing out a lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
But they were the same people that were able to get access to a recording of her after the surgery or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, it's kind of weird because, like, why, like, kind of like, it got messy because this in a way is just the media trying to find something that's not there, and then you kind of taking advantage of the moment or the person.
They definitely vilify her a lot, like throughout this whole entire like coverage and event and everything. But
and there was another whole thing with the GoFundMe, and how people donated, and how she got the procedure done for free. Yeah. So I mean, what's some of your thoughts on that?
Truthfully, get your coin. Like, get your coin. Like, I don't, like...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Get your coin.
Like, literally, like, I mean, it was obvious that she didn't know prior to, like, making this GoFundMe that this would be covered, like, completely, because what surgery is covered? Like, completely, first off. And second off, like, it's... I mean... On top of it, I don't think she's going to be using that for her own leisure and everything.
That's
like,
true.
The money is probably going to be going towards other things, like having to do with just regular hospital things. And I just feel like, honestly, I just feel like it was needed regardless. Like, regardless of what position she's in, whether there's medications. Because, like, just because the surgery is free doesn't mean, like, whatever aftercare she has to do is free, too. Yeah. So it's like, I don't see the hatred. Y'all donate your coin out of the goodness of your hearts, right?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, you can't be mad if you pitched into her GoFundMe and now you want a refund.
Exactly.
Because I'm pretty sure on the GoFundMe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure on the GoFundMe it says you can't have no refunds. Okay, so you donated willingly,
and I feel like too on top of that is like. I think a lot of people are getting mad that she's getting, like, so famous. And it's just like, bitch, how many other significant, I'm talking about Bad Baby, white type of figures got blown up out of nowhere for the most insignificant, like,
at this point, I'm letting y'all know anybody could be famous because y'all giving everybody and anybody the platform too.
6ix9ine still famous. Y'all did that too. I'm looking at y'all like that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't. I don't see. I feel like y'all just placing hatred because honestly,
y'all want your money back. That's it.
Y'all want your money back, and plus some of y'all actually might be racist. Like, actually might hate black women, and that's.
Yes. And that's
remove
not cute.
BLM from your bio immediately. Like, it's just
thank you.
No.
And so, you know, over this weekend, talking about, you know, vilifying women.
Yeah.
The Britney Spears documentary came out this weekend. I watched it with my sweet mates. I've heard about, you know, the whole conservatorship going on before the documentary.
Right.
But the New York Times actually decided to cover this.
It's on Hulu, right?
Yes,
yeah.
it is on Hulu. So check it out if you haven't checked it out. I'm over here plugging stuff like I'm the one who's over here promoting it. But now I think it's a good thing to check out because, the hashtag FreeBritney has been going around everywhere for a while now.
Yeah.
And this documentary does point out a lot of things. But then we saw over this weekend, it spin it into Justin Timberlake came in with
a trash human being.
A
trash human being.
He came out with an apology to not only Britney, but also Janet. But I guess we're gonna dive into the Britney
things. Yeah,
part.
Britney, let's go dive into
okay.
Because I don't want to talk about toxic men quite yet. Yeah, but what do you think about the Britney documentary?
I think it's I think a point that the documentary pointed out, which was really interesting, it was Britney is a woman who is running basically a business.
Yeah.
Does that not show some type of function or control over her life?
Yeah, she's an independent woman. Like
she's been doing these residencies, and she's been performing everything. Well, I don't know her personal life, so I can't really expand beyond that. But I'm trying to understand. I feel like it's a whole big part of our justice system, but also just criticizing her father has. Well, her father is, the I guess.
Yeah, he's still, he no longer has the conservatorship or whatever, but he still receives all of her financials or, fundings and stuff like that.
So he still has some control.
Yeah.
Just not, where he was before, which he had literally, everything. But I'm trying to understand, this point of, she literally has control in what it seems like her life. So I'm trying to see where did this go wrong? Why is she being denied the rights that she's seeking out? It's just interesting because that's a lot. I don't know what you think, but
yeah, honestly, with the documentary, whenever I think about Britney and everything, because I feel like part of me knew something was up and everything, but I never just the way the media really vilified her and really placed so much hatred towards this girl for no reason. When I say that she's been performing since she was a child, and she's been in the limelight ever since, and to have this this ruling over your life into your adulthood and everything, I can't imagine mentally what that would do because everybody has their mental breaks. Everybody, I think there was this distinct difference of how y'all treated her mental break versus y'all were trying to cast it away, victimize. You're trying to really weaponize it for your own media gain versus actually trying to treat her and help her rehabilitate. Honestly, I feel like that's kind of a sad story for a lot of child stars that grow into it because
especially young girls that are looking to pursue into the industry.
Right.
And there's just a real difference out there between how women and men are treated, especially in Hollywood and the entertainment industry. That's just something within itself. It did point out in the documentary, there was one point where she was doing a hometown performance or something.
At a mall, right?
No, this one was actually, she went on a stage.
Oh,
and the host had asked her about a boyfriend. And I was like, why is that such an important question at literally 7 to 8 years old? That's not the first thing that's on her mind, especially for someone who's trying to get to where she is now. I'm pretty sure people want to know so many other different things about her as a person.
Exactly.
So it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it.
It's definitely whenever I see those videos and everything and those interviews, you can definitely tell everyone was trying to place some their sexual fantasies on her, and that was so disturbing because it's like, first off, like, why is the first question to a 7-8-year-old, or like I think towards like when she was like a teenager or whatever, they started asking about her breasts and everything. Like, how does that, how did that, what's not clicking? What's not putting together? Like, that would be a valid question for me to ask a international pop star. Like, bitch, what? Like, I'm
just telling you, some people lost some brain cells.
They did, and I feel like that was some, like, those are definitely grooming tactics, like, right then and there. And I feel like for so much of her career, it was so hard for her to, like, really express herself, because, like, I think the way she was expressing herself to me was not, like, as sexualized and everything as people were making it out to be. Like,
and there's a difference too. Like, you can embrace your sexuality.
Exactly.
And there was a lot of conversation also mentioned in the documentary about how her embracing her sexuality is not a good role model for children. But you have to kind of understand the degree. Parents also do have you know, a bit of control into their children's life of, like, what they're exposed to. But also, you can't, it's like you can't tell an individual, like, you can't do this, you can't do this. Because last time I thought we was like living our life. So
exactly. Like, even when she was a teenager, like, you're gonna have to have some agency, like, with your life and everything at that point. Like, obviously not going off, like, the rails, but I think everyone was expecting her so much too that, like, when she did, it was just like, oh, we were right. And it's like, bitch, what? Yeah, like, were y'all really casting on her downfall? And why are you all believing some little white boy about all the things like she cheated on me, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and like, what? I know the early 2000s was different.
The early 2000s, it was real different. But just why was it that it kind of felt like the world took his side against hers?
Oh, yeah. No.
And that was just sad to see, because this is why we have issues today with, you know, matters on just like victims or survivors themselves, and why they don't want to speak out, or how the media also had a big play into, you know, kind of this whole thing. Even one of the paparazzis that was like a former paparazzi in the documentary said, like, she didn't tell us really. He was very wishy-washy. Like, just leave her alone, okay?
Yeah.
You didn't get it through your head, and then you kind of provoked it, and so then when
he made me so mad.
When you got the reaction you got, then you was over there looking like Boo Boo the Fool.
Literally, like, I think one of the things that I really disdain about this is that, like, it wasn't only Britney, but also like Janet too. Like, the fact that we're even receiving apology years later. This is what I don't appreciate, when men come out with apologies years later. Because first of all,
it was way too long.
Way too long.
It took 17 years, I think, for
17
an apology.
First off,
how long you been grown?
How long have you been grown? How long has you been hearing about it? Because, like, don't pretend you were like, oh, I usually stay out of drama.
Yeah.
Bitch, you started the drama. Like, you were the one that was out here speaking. Like, it was crazy how obsessed he was with Britney, and also obsessed with vilifying Janet and everything. Like, it took you. He performed a whole fucking Super Bowl in the same.
Literally, it was like I literally read, and it was like she got disinvited to the Grammys afterwards, and he performed in the Grammys that week after, or so, something like that. And she basically kind of like lost her credibility. She basically lost, like,
over like just seeing titty. Like, it was literally unprovoked,
and
like,
it wasn't something that was. They said it was planned as part of the performance, but what actually came out of it was not planned. So she wasn't supposed to be fully exposed. It was there was another layer underneath. You know, we all seen those rip off pants or whatever for shows and performances. So it was supposed to be something like that. What ended up occurring after that, that is kind of where, like, she felt like she lost the trust, because...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it's like, it was on accident. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't intend to or anything. And even if so, like, if something, like, was malfunctioning and everything, like, why doesn't it go back to, like, the fact that y'all can literally cut cameras? Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the fact that everyone, the way they handled it was, like, this whole media circus of just putting her in blaming her for the reason why their children be watching, like, you know, all these, like, inconsistent, like, underlying problems that is just, like, has nothing to do. Like, you were still a parent. You were still, like, in control of what your kids can see and everything. For sure. And also, you can control the conversation. Like, kids aren't over here, like, talking about, oh my God, is that a breast? No, like, they're literally inquisitive. They're just like, oh, her top just went off, and it's just like, yeah, it was probably on accident. That's it. That's literally
that was the end
conversation. Of it. Y'all didn't have to be like, oh yeah, she's such a slut, or yeah, she was really provocative.
Like, we don't need all this blame name type of game. Like,
that's y'all.
Not me trying to rhyme, but but honestly, it's just, what was it like? Well, she's the only female here, so let's all blame it on her, because, you know, I don't know, did you guys have, like, I'm talking about the guys, did y'all have some sort of pact? Like, was it like this is something that we are always seeing and is slowly unveiling in the entertainment industry in the world? Like, it's very sad, because it's like, what if that was your own daughter, or, you know, what if that was your niece, right. Or what if that was someone you knew, you know, and I feel like they didn't take into account of how much his actions hurt these women and how big of a role it played, and to come out with an apology years later, like,
it's not sincere in the slightest. We know that, but it's like, I think the problem with coming out of the apology years later, and conveniently during a time whenever, like, this documentary comes out, it's like, you weren't thinking about the wrongness then, so why are you coming at it now? Like, unless it's for some type of gain, unless you, like, there's no realization.
It's probably because his name got brought up again.
His name got brought up again, and plus, another thing about him too is, like, not to derail too much, but, like, he consistently steals and appropriates from Black culture. Like, his music is literally a poor copy print of what a lot of Black artists, like Usher and, like, Neo and stuff like those are classic R&B artists he stole from and everything, and, you know, collaborated with or whatever.
And not speaking of that, Janet too.
Like, the fact that he had the audacity to steal from, like, Black culture, and then discredit a Black woman, and on top of it, manipulate other women into this game. Like, and have you seen his dance? He looked like a little...
Girl, we're not going to even talk about that. But it's very disappointing. Especially coming out, like we mentioned, just with the apology years later. And I'm not saying you have to force anybody to make an apology towards you, because then, you know, at that point, it's not genuine. But there's always I feel like a time in which you can either make sure you actually sit down, think about it, and have an apology at a due time. But something like 17 years, that's 17 years she carried all that pain with her. Literally. That's 17 years she got discredited. That's 17 years she's not going to get back all this, you know, of what she just lost. So for you to come out now, and he probably reached out to her behind the scenes and stuff like that, but also you have to take into account if she's ready for the apology as well, because it did hurt her.
Right. Like, I think the misconception is, like, just because you apologize doesn't mean I have to accept it. Like, I don't. Like, truthfully, for any of these people in the situation, the women in the situation, like, I fully just want to wish them all the healing and the blessings and whatever comes their way, and safety too, especially, you know, the best of luck to Britney, especially to get out of this, like, legal battle and this obligation that, you know, was in place on her like when I was watching the documentary, it really felt like it was placed on her simply because she wasn't the woman people were wanting her to be.
Yeah.
Like people were wanting her to be the sexual object for them to like objectify and manipulate. And the moment that she shows some ounce of like humanness, like
that's where it all went out the window.
That's when it went out the window. So
like, but we're hoping these women finally come out strong through this.
Yeah.
I feel like these are incredible women. They have established.
Yeah, they have their accolades outside of this.
Like we already know who Britney and Janet is. Okay.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the girl or goo girl. Mm-hmm. We all gotta make sure that women are protected. Like just it's important to have this conversation. I don't like. Why is it that we should tear another woman down just so that another man could get above us?
Exactly.
Especially if we all quote unquote trying to follow equality. I
ain't gonna lie, I've kind of forgot the woman behind like the Gorilla Glue incident. So let me see if I can find her name real quick.
I know her first name is Tessica. I believe her last name is Brown.
Tessica Brown. Yes. Okay. So yes, definitely protect Tessica Brown and women that honestly like. I think one of the things I like gathered from this is like, please stay out of women's business too. Like it's just y'all have no place in it 99.9% of the time, mm-hmm. and the 0.1% that y'all do, y'all try to control us. And I feel like the biggest takeaway I've seen with all these women this week that have been brought up and everything, like, I don't see no grace. I never see grace towards women, and mm-hmm. I want to see that more. Like, I want to see people actually being able to level with women and understand. Like, it's just, regardless of where we're coming from, like, it's literally the slightest moment that we oppose the structures of like patriarchy or whatever it may be is when we're no longer considered like a valid human being and we deserve disrespect.
And we're just speaking from two women ourselves.
Exactly.
We just obviously had to speak on this. Like, I mean, this is something that we also, deal with in society. So,
right.
But I think it's time to vent. I think we got a little bit more venting to do.
I know. I kind of felt myself kind of I was like, this is heavy.
No.
Get into meditation.
So, okay. I've been having a little trouble with understanding. As like I said, people losing brain cells. But I've been having a little trouble understanding. Okay, like I mentioned, my name is Zenebou, right? But I know it's not the easiest name to pronounce. And I actually saw a post today, and it said, like, something about, like, it's not hard to pronounce African names. By the way, I'm African as well. But we kind of just, like, I had to bring this conversation up because class came. Do we need to stop?
It's emergencies.
Woo, woo, woo.
Oh, shit. What's going on over? My bad. Let me stop.
Not at the AMC.
At the AMC? Oh.
Somebody choked on some popcorn.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, did they drive past?
Oh, never mind. Not at the AMC. Wrong location.
Look at you. Continue.
Okay. So I had to bring this up because I started classes a few weeks ago. And not like I started my in-person classes not too long ago, and I just couldn't understand why my professors, couldn't get my name right, even though I feel like I helped them pronunciate my name. And I'm not getting the results, the satisfaction I need. I feel like
there's no trying. There's no trying involved.
And let's just say it's my white professors as well. But, and I understand, like I said, my name is not very common, so I don't expect you to get it on first try to be like, there are some professors that I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes I do get the moments where I'm like, Damica, who? You said that?
You said it right?
You said it right.
Wow,
okay,
I want to give you an award.
I'm here.
Let everybody know.
Present.
But it just kind of like upset me because I felt like we're going. I mean, we've had classes for like what now? Like we're past a month. I don't even know. When did we start? I don't even know.
Not on my side right now. I can't even tell you.
It upset me because I was like, how many times do I have to correct you? But how many times are you not trying to get my name right? Like, it sounds like you're not putting in the effort to get to know me, not only as a student, but also as an individual, as a human.
Yeah.
I would make sure to get your name right no matter what.
Exactly.
So why is it, or address you by, a certain title or, gender correctly. I really try my best.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's very upsetting, especially I know there's a lot of students here at Emerson that don't have very common names. And there's so much meaning behind all of our names. And it's unique. So I don't know why people are not, taking this. And I'm just saying anywhere. It could be in a job place, like it could be some random person that you met, and like it's upsetting. Like I know you also don't have a common name.
I don't, and it's kind of surprising to me because it's like it's just a letter off from Danica, and I hate referring it to Danica because it's like I shouldn't have to fucking refer to another
like,
name.
Get it right, just get it right
to get my name right. It's like from the point A to point B. Like I don't want to do that, but like I get so frustrated because I'm like. It's not even like you get my name wrong. Like I'm not I'm not up in arms about it.
I'm not judging you for that.
I mean, sometimes I do.
I do it myself, but I'm like the point is I'm always trying to correct myself because I know how important it is to know someone's name, to say it properly because there's so much meaning, there's so much history behind it. Your parents didn't just name you, whatever it is that your name is, for it to be mispronounced everywhere so that it can suit everybody's, taste.
Literally. I remember receiving so many different pronunciations of my name. By the way, my name is pronounced Damica. Literally, people get so afraid to say the damn part. Say it again. Damica. People get so scared to say the damn part for some reason that they'll try to weasel their way out of it, like Damica or Damica. I've received other ones like Dominica or like Damicia, and I'm like
Dominica.
I'm like, who? Where does the letters transfer? It's Damica. Like Dominica. Where's the end? Like it's just those little moments and everything. Though it's like sometimes I will go into a class and if I automatically feel like this professor won't try, like honestly I played one time where I didn't respond to this person, to this professor when they said my name wrong. And they was like, can someone tap on her shoulder? I was like, it's Damica. And I went back to work and he was like, oh, sorry, Damica. But it was just like the whole entire time this man, I've corrected him in the past and everything and he still breezed over it. I remember having one teacher being like, oh, tomato. And it's like...
No, not to me.
I know you're not saying that with your big up Ellie right now. I know you're not saying that with your Stanley Stan, Billy Bob, Joe name. I don't understand.
All right, Bob, get it right.
It's the people with the most blandest names that want to say something. And it's like, I don't know, I think... for the majority part of it too is what I'm also seeing is that complicated names when it comes to whether it's white actresses, white actors and everything, there's to the T. Gets enunciated to the T.
You know what this is probably sidetrack, but this also brought me back to when me and Sky was watching Lupin, right? Lupin?
Oh,
Lupin?
It's on
Netflix,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And the mistress he was kind of messing with was talking about his main girl, and she was saying even her name's boring, and I said, well, can't be me.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I was just please make sure you get it don't matter. The students, I feel like this happens a lot in classrooms. I grew up, too. Also, I've gotten every name in the book I was like, at this point, that's why I got so many nicknames. I don't even know which one. I got multiple personalities I could be going with.
Truthfully, I was talking to Sky also about this yesterday.
And Sky is
our marketing manager,
yes,
head and everything. So
/ my roommate / our friend
extraordinaire. She's gonna be famous.
She's gonna be famous one day. So so make sure you watch out. Tune in, okay? Anyways, Alexis over there staring at us with.
You know what?
Crazy.
She's also like all around tech.
Yeah, she's
camera,
doing
audio.
Yo, we gotta figure out the exact title. It might be multiple titles, but just know
it's because they got multiple titles. It's at all after
after
the titles,
etc.
After the titles.
Literally, they are part of our podcast team. So it's just the 4 of us right now.
It is just the 4 of us.
We kind of sidetracked about names.
I ain't gonna lie. What was I about to say?
But just going back.
The name that I was gonna. Okay, so whenever I first came to Emerson and everything, I was like thinking to myself like, should I stick with Damica? And I was just like, you know, what would be a cute name? Mika.
Oh no, not Mika.
And I was literally like, until the first day of class and everything, I was walking into the class, plopped down, all that stuff, and roll call came, and the professor was the type where it's just like, just tell me your name, we'll deal with nicknames later. Yep. And I was just like, yeah, maybe mine is just Damica today. Like, it's gonna be Damica tomorrow too, probably. I just it never happened, but I'm glad it wasn't, because Mika doesn't give me a vibe.
Yeah, I don't think you're a Mika.
I'm not Mika.
I think you're a Damica for sure.
I don't see. I was really offended one time when someone said I look like a Samantha. I was about to beat their ass.
Beat it for real.
Like Samantha. Like a Samantha.
But yeah, cause I'm like, I've got Zenebou, Zenebou. I got so many different crazy names that I can't even remember. And sometimes I would want to try to make it more easy for other people. And I'm like, why should I do that? Because now it puts me in a space where I feel like literally I'm not getting as much acceptance, but also why should I water down my name to fit a white society? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's literally me not being proud of who I am, or like what my parents name me as. And so I feel like especially now, working, I was like, I'm gonna put my full name. I really I was like, because I haven't really seen anybody with that name. So it just makes me out from the others.
Exactly.
And so sometimes I let people call me Zen. I think Zen is cute because it's Zen. It's like a calm thing, but I feel like I let people who are, I would say, one, like, close to me, or that I feel like I don't get no judgment, or that they kind of know me. Those are the people that I'm like, oh yeah, you could just call me Zen. I'm very comfortable with you, I guess. And so that way I'm like, for sure, I know my full name, but it's fine if you want to call me a nickname, because I don't mind from you, but from other people, I mentioned just call me my full name. And even one of my bosses too, by accident, I ended my email with Zenebou instead of Zen. And she was panicking. She was like, oh my gosh, did you not want me to call you back? And I thought that was really nice of her.
I was going to say, I thought she was going to do something else. I was like, who is this? I know your name is Zen, but who's Zenebou?
No, but she was just like, do you no longer go by this name? Is it all right if I call? I didn't even catch it, because I switched so often between it. And sometimes Zen is three letters, right? So it's easy. But yeah, I feel like it's just way too important to let my name just literally flow off people's tongue, and not really understand like what the significance of it is. You take a way of you take a piece of someone's, you know, identity away from that if you don't get to really understand what their full name is. You know, some people are even curious as to like what your name means and stuff like that. So I think that's important. And just know, a lot of you guys out there have some really, 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 really unique names, and no one else. Well, at least I'm like speaking from like, I don't know, but a lot of people don't have these names, so I think it makes you stand out, but I think it also adds to your character, your personality. So, you know, make sure you let people know how comfortable you are with how they pronounce your name, why it's important, and don't just let people, you know,
brush
walk on by, brush it off.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like in conjunction with that, you know, growing up in the places that we did grow up, I feel like my name, like I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina and everything. So being below the Bible Belt in the South and everything like that was really interesting to see how my name would like transfer and everything.
Yeah, I'm also curious because I've never been to the South, so. Because
like I'm from, I mean, majority it's just white people, but like it was interesting.
As I've heard.
As you've heard, it's exactly what it is. But like I mean, I grew up in a like it was crazy because I grew up in a more predominantly like black community and everything. But then I moved with whenever my father like being in the military and everything. Had to move to another location to get closer to the military base and everything. I ended up living in a predominantly white like community and everything, where everything was surrounded by farms, everything was surrounded by cow manure, like tractors would be literally on the road, dirt roads, racism. Like it was literally like street names were named after Robert E. Lee. Like it was those type of like things, and it's crazy because like whenever I thought about my name, how I would present it. Like in like middle school and high school and everything, I was like, fuck, I don't want this name. Like no, like I was like automatically I didn't want this name just because like a lot of the I guess students and everything, a lot of the teachers will kind of play into this joke of like Damica, and it's like, yes, bitch, it's Damica. But, you know, over the years... I
mean, we kind of had a name play on Damica's name, too. But that was, like, later on afterwards. Exactly. We was like, damn, cuz.
That was different, though. That was different because my thing was, y'all are my friends. Like, these people were just, like literally...
She said, I don't know y'all.
I don't know y'all. And, like, you know, being a teacher. But, I mean, it's just, like, one of those things that... I remember being like a sore thumb sticking out and everything.
That's what it always feels like.
And it does feel like that. You start to like kind of reimagine like what your name would be instead. But honestly, I can't see my name being like any other one because like
I feel that
because my name means friendly, and you know
that's cute.
I could be friendly, you know, like
yeah, she can be a little friendly.
Don't do that. I am friendly.
But I have to disagree, but
yeah, I guess, but
but that's definitely the opposite of where I grew up from. I grew up from New York City, specifically Brooklyn.
Maybe we should go shout out to her borough.
Come on, shout out to all my people from Brooklyn. I kind of don't live there right now. I'm talking about I don't live there right now. I live in Queens. But we don't talk about that. I just sleep, eat, breathe there, okay?
Not you. I can't.
So, but I grew up in Brooklyn, and like the area I was mostly surrounded by was a lot of the Latin community. But also I did have a mixture of, you know, the black community, and I'm talking about like Bushwick, Brooklyn. Like I'm not talking about Dumbo, like no, we're not talking about them touristy spots, okay? And so everybody kind of felt like the same, even though in my school, like the school that I went for middle school and high school, so I've known these people for like forever, basically. But we had a large like Latin community, Hispanic community, and so we always felt like everybody just was grouped together. Everybody felt as one. It was definitely growing up in New York City. you get a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. I'm telling you, like the range is like out there. Like I have friends from, I think about almost every race or, you know, group. And so it's like, it's just mind blowing, like of like the diversity that I get in New York City, that I can definitely see the very opposite here in Boston.
Boston is wider than I thought it would be.
Like, even though we are literally in the city, like in downtown Boston, and it still don't feel as diverse. I feel like it
you have to travel outside of like downtown. Yeah,
so it's kind of like, and I don't know Boston that much, so like you mentioned, like you kind of got to go out there. I've definitely heard that, you know, there's different communities like in Dorchester, you know,
Savin Hill, East Boston.
So it's different. Just coming here and, you know, just seeing like how it is. Like one of my first experiences here actually was when we went to Trader Joe's. I'm talking about like me and my, you know, suite mates / roommates. And there was I think she was a student. It was a black woman, and she was like, she saw me. I don't know, coincidentally, I ended up being in her register. So she was checking out my stuff, and she's like, you know, Boston is very racist. I said, oh. I said, not my first week. Not my first week here. I don't even know the place.
Can I get my apples?
I said,
let me get my bread.
So, do I want to check out or now? Or just check out and go back home?
Yeah.
But
you gotta trade a
But it was like, that was like, wow, that was interesting to hear, because I'm like, I didn't think anybody would, you know, just blurt it out to me, or just like, and it was just like, it was very like weird, but going through, you know, we've been here for about like 3 years now. She right, it is racist. So, but yeah, I'm just like, wow, it's a lot of things.
I would say like the racism up here is kind of, it's so different from like the South too, because like the racism up here, it's blatant, it's like microaggression and everything based. I feel like, I mean, I don't want to drop my work, but like you know, I've had experiences at work and everything where I was like put off by a comment, or even in class where I was put off by a student who thought it would be okay to speak over like POC centric issues and everything. So with that being said, I feel like the racism in the South and everything, when I first moved there, I remember there was a story of like,
what you mean it moved?
When I moved to North Carolina, like when I was 12 and everything. When I moved over there, I remember there was a certain road where it was like, don't go to that gas station, like don't go over there. And I was like, why?
That's scary.
And it was like, that's where the KKK recruits usually go.
Ooh.
And like the KKK was super like prevalent in like my school area and everything. And I remember being like, what? And I remember this, like one of my friends being like, yeah, when I was little, I remember seeing like them marching like along the streets. And the fact that it was so blatant, and the fact that like cops would drive past, which is another reason why abolishment.
This is scary, guys.
It's like that, and it was like moments like that where I would feel very unsafe and everything, but also too, I think there was a lot of blatant like examples of like exclusion and like targeting. I remember like I wasn't even talking. Like, you know how you like on a field trip, everybody talking, everybody chit-chattering or whatever, and all of a sudden, like, I'm all the way in the back, mind you. I'm talking to one of my friends, and all of a sudden, all I hear is, Damica, come up here. And I'm like, what? Like, everybody, mind you, everybody was
What'd
like,
you do, Damica?
octaves. Like, everyone was octavely speaking. That's exactly what it said. That's exactly what it said. And, like, I remember, like, being pulled up, and they were just like, why are you talking? Why are you being so loud? I was like, the way I was talking was the way I'm talking to you right now. Like, and it's not coincidentally, I was the only, like, person of color there. And it's like, you know, examples like that. She was threatening that the police officer was going to walk, like, right beside me and everything the whole trip. And I was just like,
oh, no.
Bro, what the fuck?
No.
And mind you, this wasn't even, like, a teacher or anything. This was, like, a chaperone for one of the girls' like, parents or whatever that was in my class, who was also besties with it was a lot of nepotism.
I was about to say, take her out the school system, but she don't even work there.
She don't even work there.
Take her out of her job then.
Literally. And I feel like there was so many gross, like, white men, too, that constantly preyed on, like, just girls in general, but also, like, there was a difference whenever it came to, like, POC and everything. And it was a very fetishized base. It was a different, like I think it's weird because, like, I couldn't reconcile with, like, oh, that's racist at the time and everything, just because of the fact that, like, it was so predominant. You know what I'm saying? At first, I usually internalized it and being like, oh, that's my fault.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, oh, my bad. Like, I should probably change this and whatever. But yeah, it was definitely scary. But coming up here too, you kind of, like, I was, like, expecting, like, the fresh air and being like, "Ooh, I'm okay." And then I come here, I'm like, we still in the same waters.
Yeah,
it's
there's gonna be judgmental. There's gonna be racist people everywhere, no matter where you go. And I feel like, oh, you know, even though we're, like, from two different completely different places, people are like, you know, there's, you know, less racism here, but that doesn't even make it any better, because it's not about that.
It's the fact that it's still racist.
So yeah, I was like, you're still gonna possibly encounter it someday.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, definitely, I feel like where I grew up, I feel like there was a lot more acceptance and stuff like that. Nobody was really, like, you know, rah up in your face, you know, shouting all these, you know, derogatory terms or anything like that. But there still are, you know, microaggressions, and, you know, just the way certain people, like, you know, I don't know, just, like, act around different, like act around you in public spaces.
Or, like, fake wokeness too.
That's true.
Like, really predominant up
That's
here.
true. Yeah. And they want to be, and then you're like, wait, but what you just said was racist.
And then they're like, no.
I didn't mean it like that.
I didn't mean it. I just meant, like, you. Whoa. Wait a minute.
Stop right there.
Literally, because I feel like, I mean, being in Emerson and everything, predominantly white institution, I feel like while a majority of people are liberal, maybe radical and everything, y'all still good.
Some of y'all still be.
No.
Some of y'all be faking out there.
Another conversation for another time.
Yep. That's a lot of performative and
performance.
I mean,
the acting.
You know, we may go to an art school, but a lot of y'all still be performing the hell out of that. So I'm gonna need y'all to stop this.
In and out of the classroom. Like, I don't know. I feel like, it's it's like there's distinctions, but it's like the same. Like, we still in the same boat,
and we still gonna end up talking more about this.
Exactly.
Like, it don't stop right there.
And another thing too to point out is, like, I'm non-black POC and everything, and it's like there's still privileges I still hold and everything, but at the same time, it's one of the things that I feel like a lot of non-black POC don't recognize is, like, you still have privilege. Like, you still have privilege. Just say Alexis hates us.
Yeah, literally. She's like, y'all done yet?
But it's true. Like, it's like y'all, like, refuse to acknowledge, like, there's certain ways that you do benefit in your proximity to whiteness.
That's true.
Like, everyone, that's a huge, like, we're still
a deep conversation, because, like, not only privilege as in race, but there's different privileges, like, even within the same, you know, even within the same race. Like, my black experiences probably not like somebody else. Somebody who grew up, you know, in a, you know, luxury type of elitist type of status. There's differences there. It's
huge.
It's a lot. But will we unpack that all today? No, we won't.
No, but we will. We will. I didn't want to say it like that, but like we will.
We stay tuned. Okay.
Yeah, just a little something.
So I think we starting to wind down.
This is towards the end of our
we about to end it all.
Not
okay.
End the show. But So
we got our last segment,
mention and intention.
Yes. And we just wrapping it up for you guys. We just coming down with our final thoughts.
Yeah, things that like either we want to see more of in ourselves, or things we want to see more of, like the conversations we were talking about today.
Yeah, for sure. And what we're gonna talk about is just, well, like going back to making sure our name takes up space.
Yep, names take up space. Like, I think I had to reconcile with the fact that, like, first off, Damica is not a complicated name. Zenebou is not a complicated name. It's literally the willingness. If you try, it's willingness not complicated. That's all it takes. Like, you'd be surprised how little effort it takes to really just
if you could study all these vocabulary terms, these long vocabulary terms that you don't know, and you could spell it out and you could say it right, then I'm pretty sure you could get my name right too.
If you could say that one white girl's name from what was it called?
The Lovely Bones.
Lovely Bones, Little Women. If you could say her name,
you can say mine. Okay.
My bad, Alexis on media. Our names take up space.
Yeah. Make sure your name takes up space. This is important for everybody. Because at the end of the day, it's not only just about your name, but it's about what you represent, how people, you know, how you want people to, I guess, see you in a way. And so that's just like a big, like, overall, you know, just concept. And it's, I feel like you're probably like, oh, name, but like, there's so much more to that. Like, I can't even explain it. But
like, it's your identity, it's your story, it's, you know, it's the thing that you, like you said, like, you have some people call you Zen because it signifies like a certain friendship between both of you. Like that, there's for those little things that I feel like matter, and they take up space. Like, all of you takes up space, but I think what we need to start doing is deconstructing, like, what exactly for us will take up space. So, you know, for all my unique names out there, you know, who, you know, doesn't get pronounced on the first try, it's okay. Like, take it up space.
We not
do whatever.
We literally not gonna beat you down just because you ain't say it right the first time.
That, and also too, like, I know it can get draining to correct people every time. So if you want to be petty as me, you can just ignore them until they get
you got the right.
You have the right. Like, I'm sorry, Susan. It's Damica.
I'm sorry, Susan. Everyone knows how to say your name. We get it.
Literally,
we get it.
Suzanne.
Okay.
My bad.
And then we just gonna like go back. I think it's just very important as two women, right? Two women of complete different race, but also races that are not within the white
framework.
White. And I just hate the term like POC, minority, you know, BIPOC, I hate it. I'm not, like, I mean, if y'all could come up with some new words that's in the flavor, it's probably even created by a white person themselves as how to call us. I hate that in general, but I'm not going to go too much in that since we turned, like, winding down. But I was just thinking, as women, it's important to just kind of make sure that we do get the voice as much as anybody else. We put a lot of work into, you know, whether it's a business, whether it's the, you know, we don't have to be these traditional norms that it's 2021, okay? We're not living in no white man society. Yeah. Well, at least for me.
Not me. Look.
So I'm like, like there's other women that have been under the attack, such as Megan Thee Stallion, Meg Denise herself, and you mentioned Lauren London, like when we was like writing, like kind of talk about this briefly,
like women, like what I find it really like weird and significant too is the fact that like y'all are able to believe all the horrendous acts that are done against women when it's spoken about them, not when it's spoken from them. And I think that says a lot about how y'all view women, how y'all perceive specifically Black women, and how y'all just refuse to acknowledge the privileges y'all have and everything. And I'm speaking mainly to the white cis male community, but I mean also to every man out there too.
And Women's History Month is actually coming, I believe, the next month after this. So during this month, but even more beyond that, I think we deserve a lot of things, okay? But yeah, it's just like, why is it always an attack against women? Is it because you don't want to, feel belittled? Or I feel as belittled as a woman in a man's group. Okay, I think that's something y'all should ask about yourself.
Y'all want to keep like demonizing femininity when y'all absolutely need some femininity. Like,
exactly.
You need to process your emotions, not punch holes in the wall.
like do better. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, the last thing we have is just kind of how we've been talking about how to do social change, activism, the difference between activism and performative activism. Yeah. So if you're going to do it right.
Literally. I really don't, like, I think it's past the point of you just posted on your Instagram. Yeah. Or
we passed that point. Yeah, like, we already know that one. Okay, exactly. Everybody been doing it all summer.
Like, or whatever it may be. Like, it comes off clear that you're ingenuine about the activism you put out and everything. So I think it's time to really reframe the ways that we can educate ourselves and we can actually put the words into practice and everything, and make spaces for those who need to be made for and everything, and use your privileges whenever you can, because like in the end of the day, like I should not be seeing you. Like, one thing I had a problem with, like over the protests last year over the summer, was seeing so many non-Black POC and white people basically speaking over like Black people
and just dominate the whole movement. Message of like what it's for. Like,
exactly. And like we can equally talk about Black Lives Matter and also talk about other issues too, without discounting one another. Like, I've seen that within the Asian community, I've seen that with the Latinx community. Like, first off, there's anti-Blackness in both, but two, there's such an inherent like disdain for allowing Black people to take up space that y'all are not seeing.
And it's a thing, like, you gotta understand, you gotta learn, okay? You can have privilege, you can want to be part of, helping people out in the movement. You got to learn how to respectfully go in these people's spaces and actually, help out in a way that is really helpful. Like, don't just, they let me in, so like, I'm going to be the voice for, everyone and anyone in that group. Like, that's not what we asked for. We said, if you want to, help us out, if you want to join, we're not disregarding that, but make sure you know how to come correct, okay?
Literally. Like, we don't need no white saviors or anything like that. And remove the narrative that you need to be saving something before ever going into activism. Like, especially if, like I mentioned before, like for Black History Month, let Black educators, Black people tell their stories. Like, you just sit there and listen. Like, bitch. Like, that's all you have to do.
All you gotta do is sit down and listen.
Listen proactively too. Like, I can't tell you how many times I feel like a lot of people just be playing it and not actually registering what's being said.
Yeah, and we talking about, like you said, registering, actually listening. We're not talking about, I got it.
Right.
but because this has a larger effect on anybody that you encounter with. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's
it.
That's all we got for you.
That's all we have for our episode. But be sure to check us out on all of our socials.
For sure.
Yes, please. Thank y'all so much for joining us in our pilot episode. But until next time, y'all, we'll catch y'all later.
Yes, make sure you check out all our platforms. We will have all that somewhere below. But we will make sure you tune in, because we got more to talk about. We got a lot. We just started and we're excited. So we want to say thank you to our team. Thank you to Alexis Metcalf, who's our videographer, / producer / etc. / working title. And also thank you to Sky. I don't know if you want to be addressed by her full name, but okay. Thank you to Skylar Figaro. She's our marketing manager / social media / also etc. and working title as well. And lastly, we want to make sure we thank the team at Waveform. That we were able to pitch our ideas to them, and that's how we kind of came up with this podcast. We kind of didn't dig into why we started this podcast, but I guess that's for next episode.
And
y'all can know how this all started. But thank you to our team, thank you to Waveform team, and thank you all for listening. Whoever decides to listen, we hope y'all can push this conversation even further. And we hope that y'all can check in with us. And you guys can also check in with us too.
Please do, because we're cute and we
run
the show.
Oh no.
But for real though, make sure you guys check us out, and until next time, see y'all later.
Yep.